On the left, a pile of rough, broken granite. On the right, a perfectly curved wall, standing for over 700 years without a single drop of mortar. It looks ancient, silent, primitive. But what if this is not a ruin? What if this is a machine? A machine built by African engineers who mastered physics, geometry, and environmental control centuries before the modern world caught up. They didn't learn this from anyone else. They developed it, refined it, passed it down, and then built something so precise, so deliberate, that it still stands today. This is the story of Great Zimbabwe, and it will change how you see African history forever. If you're new here, welcome. Hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and share this with someone who needs to see the real history of Africa. Let's get into it. Located in modern-day Zimbabwe, in the heart of Southern Africa, Great Zimbabwe was not just a monument. It was a city. Built between the 11th and 15th centuries, it was the capital of the Kingdom of Zimbabwe, one of the most powerful civilizations in sub-Saharan Africa. At its peak, it supported between 10,000 and 20,000 people. It covered over 7 square kilometers. It controlled trade routes that connected the African interior to the coasts of the Indian Ocean. Gold, ivory, cattle, cloth. This city moved wealth across an entire continent. But what made it truly extraordinary was not its power. It was how it was built. The walls of Great Zimbabwe rise as high as 11 meters. They stretch for hundreds of meters across the landscape. And yet, not a single drop of cement was used. No mortar, no binding agent, nothing. This technique is called dry stone masonry, and it requires something far more valuable than materials. It requires precision. Each piece of granite was carefully selected, shaped, and placed so exactly that gravity and friction alone hold the structure together. Remove one stone, and the system compensates. Shift the angle, and the whole wall adjusts. This was not trial and error. This was engineering, and it gets more impressive. The builders added decorative patterns into the walls, chevron designs, herringbone arrangements, carved directly into the stonework. Beautiful? Yes, but also structural. Those patterns distributed weight, reduced stress points, reinforced the walls across centuries. Art and engineering working as one. Great Zimbabwe was not just built to stand. It was built to function. Think about that for a moment. These builders weren't just stacking stone. They were solving problems, engineering solutions, creating systems. The thick granite walls absorbed heat during the day and released it slowly at night, creating a natural temperature regulation system inside the city. No air conditioning, no technology, just an understanding of how stone behaves in the African sun. And the curves, the signature curved walls of Great Zimbabwe, they weren't just aesthetic. Curved walls directed airflow. They created natural ventilation channels that cooled the interior spaces. This was architecture working with nature, not against it, not despite it, with it. Now imagine the rainy season. Heavy rainfall, flooding, water pressure building against stone walls. Without proper engineering, these structures would have collapsed within decades. They didn't, because the builders engineered the land itself. Stone floors were laid at a slight slope, just enough to direct water away from foundations. Drainage channels were carved into the earth, controlling water flow during storms. Even the walls were designed to allow water to pass through safely without building pressure. This is advanced water engineering, built 700 years ago in Africa by Africans. And the land engineering goes even deeper. Walls were anchored directly onto solid granite bedrock. Natural rock formations were woven into the structures themselves. Terraces were carved into hillsides to prevent soil erosion and landslides. Every single choice was deliberate. Every decision had a purpose. This was a calculated, engineered city. At the very heart of Great Zimbabwe stands something remarkable: the Great Enclosure. It is the largest ancient stone structure in all of sub-Saharan Africa. Its outer wall is nearly 250 meters in circumference, over 5 meters thick at its base, 11 meters tall, and inside that wall, a conical tower, solid stone, precisely constructed, 15 meters tall. Its exact purpose is still debated by historians. Some believe it was a grain silo. Others say it was a symbol of royal power. Some researchers suggest the enclosure's design enhanced acoustics, allowing leaders to project their voice across the space, creating a natural amphitheater effect. Whatever its purpose, the precision is undeniable. The engineering is undeniable. The power it represents is undeniable. Great Zimbabwe was not isolated. It was connected. Archaeologists have found Chinese porcelain inside these walls, Persian glass beads, Odub coins. This city was a hub of the global trade network, centuries before Europeans claimed to have discovered Africa. The Kingdom of Zimbabwe controlled the gold trade between the African interior and the Swahili coast. Gold and ivory flowed out. Luxury goods flowed in. This was a sophisticated, globally connected civilization. Not primitive, not isolated, international. For years, for decades, many refused to believe Africans built this. They said it must have been the Phoenicians, or the Arabs, or ancient visitors from somewhere else. Why? Because accepting the truth meant accepting something they weren't ready for. That an African civilization had achieved this level of engineering, this level of precision, this level of brilliance. Modern archaeology has proven them wrong. The artifacts are African. The techniques are African. The culture is African. Great Zimbabwe was built by the ancestors of the Shona people. Full stop. And it stands today, after 700 years, as one of the greatest engineering achievements in human history. Great Zimbabwe is not a ruin. It is not a mystery. It is not a question. It is a statement. A statement written in stone, in curves, in precision. A statement that says, we were here, we built, we engineered, we thrived. What looks like stone is science. What looks like silence is engineering. What looks like a ruin is a monument to African excellence. If this story moved you, if it opened your eyes, if it made you proud, hit that like button, share it, comment your thoughts below, and subscribe because this is just the beginning. History like this deserves to be seen, and we're just getting started.